been a lot of grinding and such, a lot more fabrication. Got a lot of that done in there. Looks pretty good. I got the front locked up so that whenever I get my firewall started, it'll be good for my transmission tunnel. I think it looks pretty neat. You know, I'm not a machine shop, and I don't have a CNC and all that stuff, so all this is by hand, so it's definitely not going to be perfect. But oh yeah, got my new wheels and tires. They look pretty good. I got about 4 inches of upward travel, and my coilovers, like I said before, are adjustable, so I can go up if I need to. Ended up making a piece to go down here because my tub that I made was a little bit short. Same thing on the back. Did it on both sides, but it looks pretty neat now. So now I'm getting ready to do the firewall, but before I do, I wanted to kind of have something to have some more support up front. So there's just this big space here, and I wanted to add some support to this inner rocker area, which I also had to trim originally because the tire was too close. So I trimmed it. So should have enough travel now. Yeah, you can see how big the front is. It's pretty large. That is a 305 3518, and that is the Toyo Proxy R 888R. So anyways, this is just mocked up right now. It needs to be a lot better, but this is how I think I'm going to support it. I'll put some little angle iron on the bottom so that if I hit something, it'll just slide versus crumple the inner rocker or the outer rocker. I'm going to plate this right here, put some tube there, some more DOM tubing, and I think that will be pretty decent. It's not amazing, but for the space I have, I'm very limited on what I can do. And I'm not really in love with the angle, but I mean, every little bit should help some. I mean, it's definitely, I hope there's never an impact, but if there is an impact, it'll definitely prevent it from just crushing the rocker. So there's that. Hopefully once I get the driver's side done as well and get it all welded, then I can go ahead and start with the firewall. And you see there's nothing there. Bunch of space. So I got a long way to go, but I hope once I get the firewall and the transmission tunnel all done, then the rest of this is going to zip along. I did order a Corvair seat, so once I get things mocked up, I'll put the seat in there and see how I want to mount it. And I ordered a tandem wildwood master cylinder for the 15-16 bore. I ordered a wildwood pedal for the brakes, and I still have to figure out what I'm going to do about a gas pedal. I'm really trying to find a drive-by wire to hook into the Holley Sniper EFI. Obviously I haven't done anything with the motor yet. It's just sitting there mocked up because I didn't want to have that completed while I'm doing all the welding and grinding. I wanted to try to reinforce the inner rocker some, and so this is what I ended up doing. I think it looks okay. I wanted the angle to be a little bit different. This portion's kind of pushed back, so I might want it to be more straight across, but it's the best I could do with that coping tube that was already there for the frame. I think it looks good. That side's fully welded, this side's just tacked. But you can see fits pretty good. I mean, I plated the inside of the inner rocker too, so it'll stiffen it and definitely strengthen it some and give me a little bit more support. I'm pretty okay with it. I'm not going for perfection, I'm just going for strength and rigidity. So I think it'll be good. Once I get that done, then I gotta figure out my upper rails, dash bar, firewall, how I'm gonna mount the master cylinder. Yeah, good times. When I originally cut out the firewall, I cut it out really quickly with just an air saw. You can kind of see it's all jagged and stuff. Some of it's kind of missing, some of it's still there. Kind of hard to see, but this is before I did anything to it really and cleaned up any of the old seam sealer and all that stuff. But as of right now, I am just kind of showing you the before. I'm contemplating on different plans, but I think I'm going to just trim this back so it's even, clean both sides of it, and then I'll use this when I make my template for drilling holes and using Clecos to hold everything in place, just to kind of mock stuff up. If I decide to keep it, fine. If I decide to cut all this off and remake this little flange area right here, I can do that as well. But I just wanted something to start with to kind of be able to hold the panel or hold the ram board in place, kind of see what I'm working with. So that's what I'm doing now. So I don't actually have any, I had a unit bit. I was able to drill it out to like 1 1/8. Apparently this is like 1 1/4, so it doesn't fit. I don't have a reamer tool or nothing like that, so I'm just trying to do this to see if I can get the master to fit. Honestly, this is just a test piece. I did drill a hole for the column, which was pretty decent. We got it Clecoed in place. It's not amazing. This is really just going to be test fit to see how my pedals and stuff like that are going to work, how my floor pan's going to work. And if it ends up working out, I'll use it, maybe. If not, I'll redo the whole thing, but I gotta have something to kind of see where things are gonna fit. Very close. Ah. Except there's a step right there. The inner one's a little bit wider. Do a little bit more. Not quite. Okay, there's that. Want it fairly level? I don't want it fairly level, I really want it level. I don't really know if that's gonna. Have an idea. So let's see if this will work. I don't know. It might be too much, but it's kind of held in place with the column and everything else. So. I think I'm just going to drill one hole to start with. I don't want something for alignment, so. Do that. Didn't know if I was going to be able to reach. Should be close enough. Crap up there, lug nuts and everything else. So, something it's not tight up there, but it's just something to kind of hold it in place a little bit. Never done a firewall before, so, or all this assembly stuff with pedals and let's not drop the master. This one. How big are the pedal strips? So, here's the thing. Well, to get this threaded onto the master push rod, I can't just pop it in place, so I gotta take this little snap ring off and take this off, and I'd have to screw it in after the fact, but I think I'm going to go ahead and do it because I want to get this test fitted, just kind of see. Alright, so I'm back. Now I hope the pedal placement is going to work, because I don't know. I don't have a gas pedal yet. No gas pedal yet. And, obviously don't have the floor in, so I'm not exactly sure how it's going to fit. I'm going to tighten that up so yes, I know these are locking nuts, but I don't have the right size. I want to at least get them locked up, so I'm tightening one down. Obviously everything is flimsy because everything is welded. It's just held in with a few clecos and the column right there, so I'm not too worried about that. sitting at an angle though. Flush. Guess I should have put some screws in the cap or something. I don't know, I was just excited. It's the way it came and I was ready to do some fitting. I'm not doing it. So like I said, I took the other piece out of it, so the pedal is just flopping around now, but I can put it back on and thread it in. I don't know. I think it's a little bit high. I think I might have to redo all of that. But I wasn't sure because I want to bring the floor down here. And if it's angled up like this, I want to make sure I have enough room, which I do, but yeah, I don't know. Looks like I might have to redo it. I know if I move the pad itself down, it'll change the ratio, but it'll reach better. I mean, not just the pad, not the pad, but the bracket behind it. I think there's 3 or 4 different ratios for this pedal assembly. But yeah, well, I had to mock up something to see how it was going to look, and that's what I did. So, I made the shape of the firewall up here along the side of the pillar there, and then, like I said, I put it in the brake, did a little bend. So it sits pretty nicely. I drilled 1/8 inch hole for this cleco just so I can kind of get it held into place while I drill the rest of the holes and get it mocked up. But that's it. Couldn't remove the tire obviously, so I'm kind of limited on my space drilling the holes down low, but I don't even think it's really needed. I'm just mocking everything up. Kind of see what we're looking at. I like these clicos though. I don't know if very many people use them or not, but a lot better than self-tapping screws. So okay. So the bottom is sitting right there on the frame rail, like where I wanted it. Sitting right there on the frame rail. So that's where my floor is going to go. So I'm going to end up welding through this and the floor foot area, whatever, because it's going to be at an angle. So I'm going to be welding to the frame rail to hold everything something more solid. And yeah, I think it's going to be 3 front pieces for the firewall. I cut all of this off originally because I wasn't sure about my motor height, but I will end up making that little 90-degree sheet metal area here so that I can do the same thing and Cleco some stuff here. It won't actually be 90-degree, it's going to be more like this, because I am going to take the firewall and recess it further back. But I was looking at this side, I have some space for the headers if I need to. I mean, that's really close for the bolt, so I may end up trimming this back another inch or something like that, which is fine, it's easy. The other side, you can kind of see it taking a little bit of shape. It's not so terrible. I think I'm gonna end up doing a cool design with the bead rolling though. But I gotta mock it up and see. That's the whole purpose of the Clecos and cardstock, ram board, whatever. Really a good idea. I don't know if I said it, but this header is obviously not going to stay like that. But so I'm going to do the same thing forward and up, but it's going to be turbo mount, probably T3 or T4. So I'm hoping somewhere along in this range I'll have a turbo here, obviously one on the other side. So that's it. Okay, so I made this little piece. It's a 1x2. Put it in the brake, bent it, cut out a little spot for the tubing. It's going to go around my roll cage. So now I am just kind of punching some holes. There are definitely better pieces of tools for this, but this is what I have. Use what you got, right? Not bad, just requires a little more oomph. Now that I did that, whenever you do those punches like that, it kind of creates a little metal pucker on the back side of it, so I'm just going to grind that down real quick because I want my metal to fit flush when I go to weld it. This is just a support. It's helping me angle around from my inner rocker around my frame rails to create more of a weldable area for my floor. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to word this properly. So I am going to just plug weld it versus stitch weld the whole thing. I just don't think that it's necessary to stitch weld the whole thing whenever I'm going to weld the floor into it as well. It's just a little brace, that's all. I'm going to go ahead and grind down both sides so I'll prep it for welding. I will actually do a zinc oil-free primer on the back side before I weld it, but still I just want to have it mocked up. So I don't have a ton of lighting in here, but as you can see, this is where it's going to go. Around the roll cage nicely. Sit right there. So now I'm just going to take this other marker I have, and through the holes, I'm going to mark where I'm going to weld it so that it's just bare metal there, and I know exactly where to clean the frame of the inner rocker. And that's it. That's how it's going to be. So I'm going to come back and take that epoxy paint off and make it so that it will be ready to weld. So I'll put this on here, probably go ahead and do the other side, and I'm going to end up mocking up this area here for the floor, pedal area, whatever, but you can see the pedal works pretty decently right here. It comes very close to the frame rail before it bottoms out, but it doesn't max out. These are manual brakes, so I'm most likely going to pump them anyways. I think it's going to be sufficient. we'll see. Like I said, it's still just mocking up everything. If something doesn't work, it's just metal, right? Just remake it. So I really don't have the answers. I don't know the best technique and the way to do it. I'm just going with it, and I love to fabricate. It's multiple pieces, and it's interesting curves and bends and everything else. All these floor pans I am going to end up bead rolling, but I have to trim it to fit first, and I have to make sure that everything fits in my transmission mount. I'm going to do some more, put it in the brake and bend it some more, get some more overlapping, do some step flanges, stuff like that. But I mean, I made these little pieces here, which is kind of nice, just because the floor sits right on it. And then this flat stock here, it is going to be to help mount my seats and support those, along with a really rigid component to weld the floor to on both sides. So that's where I'm at right now. Okay, so this is not necessarily the best view and lighting and everything else in here, but each one of these little pieces right here I've made out of cardstock and thick paper, cardboard, whatever. So I'm just kind of holding it up here and getting an idea of what I like, which I know it's not perfect, which is perfectly fine. I'm not going for perfect at the moment. We're just going for a basic trim. I do this a bunch of times. I just cut off all the excess that I know that I for sure don't want. And then I come back and I would say I get it probably like 75% close with this. And then I cut it out of metal. And then that's where I really do my fine tuning. This is still way off, but it's okay. Otherwise, it's nearly impossible to get a piece of sheet metal in here large enough to trim it. So you gotta at least start with something, and this just gives me in the ballpark. I have to kind of put something in this space and see what I want to do. I know you can't see the driver's side, but I'm going to curve this panel some, and by curving it, it makes it hard. I can't put it in my brake, bend the floor up. I can do a step flange from my bead roller, kind of hem the edge over it, but it's still not very easy. So what I'm going to do is just cut some of this off, because I don't need all this. But some people never thought you would use scissors for metal fabrication. Scissors and paper. I mean, that's pretty close. going on my knees and getting in and out of this tight spaces and then staying here for a duration of time. That is not the fun part. Alright, I think we're really close. I don't know if anybody can see that, but so I'm going to take this piece right here and transfer it to sheet metal, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here's the piece. Cut it out in different shapes and everything. So as of right now, getting close. Gotta do some trimming, obviously. Part of this is trying to figure out what spot to trim first. You can make your own cuts, and if you take too much away, you gotta start all over again. So, as much as it sucks, my whole thing is take as little as possible and always come back and do more. So I just mark it with some type of marker. Kind of give me an idea of what areas to trim. Not perfect, but it's something. And just give it a little trim, a little haircut. Not very much, but you know, a little bit. That's what I'm saying. Alright, so I got some more trimming to do. I'm not going to bore everyone to death, so let me get to it. Well, here is the fitment I have right now. I can still move the panels around and make the gaps a little bit tighter, but basically I'm putting everything in place with these Cleco fasteners to make sure I get everything right. For instance, like on the floor over here, I mean, I'm going to end up bead rolling and everything else, but got this stock down here I can still move around. There's going to be a floor brace as well, something I can weld the floor to, but you get the idea of what it's going to look like. So yeah, I mean, it's coming together. Both sides are not identical, as you can see, but the reason why is on the driver's side I had to have more foot clearance for the pedals, and this side I don't need it, so I just don't care. It's very similar, it's just not the same. This actually gives me a little bit more room for these cooler lines down here. If they ever leaked or anything like that, the way I'm building it is more space on this side. Obviously my shift linkage is on the other side, so it's just as important, but I need that space for foot clearance. So there it is.